Start with Druid, I guess. So cards I have on screen right now: Tyrantus, 10 mana, 12/12 beast, can be targeted by spells or hero powers. Yeah, big guy, yeah, can be targeted by spells or hero powers. Yeah, beast, yeah, unless compared to Deathwing, it doesn't die to single target removals, and it also doesn't discard your hand, doesn't clear the board, so yes, slow, but Druid is always known for ramping. So, you wanna know my overall prediction about Druid class? I think Beast Druid will be quite decent. Like, the main way to complete quest of Druid and get the Barnabas is just to play Beast Druid. I don't think it makes much sense to like play anything else other than Beast Druid right now, because every single card they introduced, every new card right now, every powerful one, in most cases it's just beasts. Look at Tyrantus, look at Giant Anaconda, Elder Longneck. That's all beasts. Even Vengeant Longneck. This guy's a beast as well. So what I'm trying to say, this guy's a beast. And there's a card called Menagerie Warden. Menagerie Warden with this equals a lot of stats on board. It's extremely slow, so you're playing 10 mana 12/12, and the next turn you're playing 6 mana 5/5. You don't react with spells. I'm just saying it can be done if you want to. Will this card in particular be competitive or not? It's a different story. It does feel like it's too slow, even for a Beast Druid. Like, being a Beast Druid, you want to be faster than playing like turn 10 Tyrantus. But if you're playing Beast Druid, you may also play Giant Anaconda, and it has just rather summon a minion from your hand if it's 5 or more attack. So if you're playing a 7 mana 12/12, can be targeted by spells or hero powers, that's a different story, don't you think so? Of course you have a bunch of other minions you can summon from Giant Anaconda, but you might also get Tyrantus. And what I'm trying to say, you don't have to make a Beast Druid aggressive. You don't have to put Savage Roar in it. With tools and new expansion arts, you can play a control Beast Druid. You can play Quest Beast Druid. It's a good way to play it. I'm not so sure about this guy. I think this variation of a Beast Druid deck, as I said, when you play it slower, and then you play Tyrantus and Giant Anaconda. Or a variation when you play it faster, and then you play more mid-game, more early game, and then you cut Tyrantus, cut Anacondas. Both options are possible, and I'm not sure which one is best right now. It requires more precise testing and like checking out the win rate. So yeah, you can play it in a slower Beast Druid deck. Can you play it anywhere else? I don't think it's justifiable to run 10 mana 12/12, which does absolutely nothing, unless you run Giant Anaconda. So it only goes together with Giant Anaconda basically. This card is good for slower Beast Druid, and it seems too slow for anything else. Jungle Giants 1 mana quest, summon 5 minions with 5 or more attack, reward Barnabas. And Barnabas is a 5 mana 8/8, makes all your minions cost 0. Like literally every single minion, you can play a whole hand. You play Barnabas, you can play every single minion you have if you want to, as long as you have enough space on the board. Pretty strong one, right? Look, so like my overall thinking about quests, it's a huge drawback to start the game with quest, because it starts the game with 1 card less, 1 option less. It helps you a lot. Reward is pretty huge as well. In some cases it's worth it, in some cases it's not. So here we have really strong reward. You basically get a Barnabas. Some people say it's 6 mana 8/8, but like as soon as you play it, you just can go off with your deck, right? So it's not like that. The question is how easy it is to summon 5 power minions, because you can't like have 1 mana 5 power minions. You can complete the quest too quickly. You can play Barnabas on 5. It needs to be slower than that. Again, 2 routes. You can either play a slower deck or faster deck. Like, I'm not saying Beast Druid is the only way to go, but it just feels like a natural way to go for it, right? Because if you play Jungle Giants, you have to play cards like Vengeant Longneck, Elder Longneck, You have to play some other 5 power creatures, and there are beasts as well. There's so many beasts in this expansion. Not so many 5 attack minions, so I would say Jungle Giants belongs to more like a slower list. So then the question I have like about competitive such a deck, like how do you defend yourself, how do you not fall too far behind, being a slow druid. There's a Tortolan 4 Rager, add random minion with 5 or more attack to your hand. You can't really rely on it, so it's kind of anti-synergetic if you want to play a quest and also be slow. Because it's too slow, you will lose to mid-range decks, you basically lose to Elemental Shaman. Because of tempo. You won't be able to fulfill the quest fast enough. So you need to be like more proactive with your plays and don't play too much slow stuff. The Shell Shifter is a good way to get another creature with 5 attack into your deck, I guess. Let's say it's perfect curve. You coin out Wild Growth, you have this new 3 mana creature, the Elder Longneck. Then you go into Ventral Longneck, on turn 4 you have Shell Shifter, turn 6 you have Dark Arakoa, turn 7 you have Ancient of War. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go, 5 guys, 5 creatures, right? You need to have a perfect hand to complete the quest on 7 and don't die after. And then you can go off. Then you can play your Ancient of War, then you can play your Barnabas and play your whole hand. Barnabas doesn't have taunt on defensive, right? So you have to have something to defend yourself after you play Barnabas. And you can't defend yourself with spells. It needs to be again taunts. So I'm really thinking like a beast decks will do well in there. You have to play like Defender of Argus then, because you die after you play it, because you're so slow. I guess if you have a perfect curve, you don't even fall behind on board. Turn 4 Elder Longneck will keep you alive for quite a bit, I would say. And Shell Shifter trades into something for sure. 5-3. Elder Longneck, not so bad. I mean, ideally, the deck looks pretty decent, pretty solid, right? But as I said, you're having 1 card less because you play a secret. You play a quest. You won't have a perfect hand. In most cases, you won't finish it until turn 7. You'll finish it at 8 or 9 or maybe even later, or maybe you will not be able to finish it until you have like Nourish drawn or something. I'm not even sure you can afford to play Nourish, because this card is a spell and it doesn't like do much when you play it. You can ramp with it, but you just don't have time to ramp. I mean, it's funny because I think it feels like the most aggro deck will be Elemental Shaman, and it still runs like really slow cards. So you can really get away with playing really slow. And also, even when you complete the quest, you're not like 100% secure the game. You might play against decks who have hand removals, and you still need to have a card advantage. You only join 1 card per turn. If you don't run Nourish, you run out of stuff. So maybe we have to play like Ancient of Floors, because they do work with quest and they give you a card. It's also difficult to justify playing Innervates. I guess you have to, but again, like, this is not a minion. And you start with 1 card less. The quest is definitely interesting, so reward is extremely good. And if any quests can be good, this one should be worth playing. It's probably a bit more difficult to complete it compared to like a priest quest, but also reward is doing much more. You just win the game on the spot against classes who don't have hand removal. You're playing against Paladins, so you need to be a bit more careful, right? Against classes with hard removal, basically what you do is Barnabas, you just get an 8-8 and no other benefit. Because if you commit more than 8-8, you will just get a hard removal into your face, or your board will be just gone immediately. You can play Barnabas plus 1 creature, and then like you can ever develop more than 2. Warriors will run Brawl, and Paladins will run Equality. Warlocks will probably play Distant Nether, I'm not so sure about that, so not so many classes with hard removal, but there are some. Such type of deck is really like specific type. You can't expect to beat aggro with it. It's like a Jade Druid. Just it beats Jade Druid. Because you finish the quest, you win the game. You can also compare it, like how it will go. Let's say it's similar to it's similar to Aviana Kun combo right now. Like it goes if you play, let's say, Druid Mirror, you queue into Jades. You will beat Jades if your combo goes off, right? If you hit Aviana Kun on turn 10, you always win because you just play too much stuff and Druid has no hard removal. In order to do so, you need to do what? You need to survive, and you need to pull off have enough 5 attack creatures to swarm the board, and you need to not run out of cards. It's all manageable, but like also what Aviana Kun deck struggles against is probably aggro. Pirates aren't going anywhere. I know there's a Galaka Crawler introduced, but Pirate Warrior is still there, guys. Don't expect Galaka Crawler by itself will stop Pirate Warriors from playing Pirates. You will also need to put this card into your deck, and you need to have a decent amount of decks with Galaka Crawler in it in order to stop Pirate Warriors from dominating ladder. And if you play Galaka Crawler, it's like a beast, right? Actually a beast as well. So you can actually put a beast into your deck and have extra synergy for... It's like a power creep of River Krakalisk. I was playing River Krakalisk in my more aggressive shaman, in more aggressive beast druid, but it doesn't fulfill the role of like making this quest, completing this quest, not a 5 attack creature. It does deal with aggro if you play against pirates, but how many pirates you will see really? Yeah, I'm not really certain about the quest. It might be that like more proactive beast druid is just better than slower one with a bunch of 5 attack creatures. Interesting point about Shell Shifter, it's not a 5 attack creature, so like in hand it's not a 5 attack creature, right? So it won't activate Elder Longneck. Yeah, you see like all these weaknesses of running the quest variation compared to playing just a bit more proactive one. I think quest is interesting, I'll definitely try it out. And I'm leaning towards... It's really close. I think it's like will be 2 like staple good decks, whether or not you play Beast Druid without a quest or you play a quest. You lose in some cases, you win in some. Blizzard, they aren't stupid. You remember Jade Druid? Everyone said like, oh, it will be OP, 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 and it was not bad. It did perform well, but it wasn't OP at all because you even beat it with Renomage sometimes if they draw poorly. It's all about the ramp, how fast you are. Yeah, I think it's same case in here. You either draw well and you win, and you like pull out the combo, get all your 5 attack creatures, get your ramp, or you draw dry and run out of stuff to do, or you die to aggro. I think all this archetype, Beast Druid, slower Beast Druid, just a bunch of 5 attack creatures Druid will be viable. They probably did a good job this time around. So Quest will see play as well. If it will be the best deck, or if it will have same power level as archetypes are described, time will show, but it feels like it's pretty close. Arjet Anaconda, 7 mana 5/3. This card will summon a minion from your hand with 5 attack or more. Let's talk about downsides first. You can summon Elder Longneck from your deck, from your hand if you have it. Let's say you draw your Elder Longneck on turn 6, on turn 7 when you're about to play your Anaconda, and you still need to do it. It's your turn 7. That's small drawback really. You normally play the Longneck on turn 3. You get rid of this cheap beasts. Also, if you run like Menagerie Warden, you can pull out it from the minion too. Another example, so you can get your Tyrantus from it. You can also play some cards like Forgotten King Kun and some like more expensive guys. Maybe play Anixia, why not, or something. And it's pretty strong because stat line is good. Like 5/3 on a lot of attack on a powerful Destructible creature normally makes opponent want to trade into it. It's like a Aya. There's a 5/3 attack creature, and you feel like you don't want to kill it, even so stat line tells you can just draft it. But if Jade is big in Aya, you're not touching it. There's no need, there's no reason. Even if you kill it, there will be even a bigger threat after, right? So a lot of attack on it is very nice. Yeah, so finally I want to say like this card is strong. And if you want to build your deck a bit slower, you can play it. But don't forget it's 7 drop. I think game is slow enough to justify playing the Anaconda in your Druid list. So I think it will do work. Don't forget about that Galactic Crawler, guys. You're not beating pirates too frequently if you don't play it. Yeah, it will see play. Living mana. Transform your crystals into 2/2 minions. Recover the mana when they die. So what you can do with it? You play turn 5, you get 5/2s. So I'm guessing you get 5/2s because otherwise the card is just complete garbage. Let's say if you play turn 5, you get 0/2s because you have no mana left to spare for crystals. I mean, that's somewhat aggressive spell, right? It can be cleared by any AoE, but if it getting cleared, it just trades 1 for 1, you get all your mana crystals back. The Mass Dispel equals Concede, I suppose. But no one is playing Mass Dispel really, right? Seems pretty good, I would say. It's not defensive at all, but I don't think meta will be fast enough in order for you to be killed when you do nothing in turn 5. That's just not the case for this expansion, it seems. So if you get like 10 attack for 5 mana, and it's also separated in small chunks, if there's also no AoE, you can like get behind on the board, then play this card, get a bunch of stats on the board, use it to trade, and then like stabilize this way. So it's very interesting, right? You don't need to be aggressive, you don't need to play Savage Roar to get use of it. Yeah, so the way I see this card is just like stabilization on turn 5 after ramp. You go like Core and Wild Growth, or just go Wild Growth into Mire Keeper. Then you have 6 mana to spare, you play, and there's like a board your opponent is building. You just go like, oh, Living Mana. You get a 12th attack, you don't get a charge, and there might be an AoE. Not like a perfect card by any mean, but it can help you stabilize on the board. So it can get some use in like slower Druid decks, I would say. What's the downside? Downside is obviously, if your opponent has AoE, situation is even getting worse and worse, because instead of having a relief on the board, you will have no relief. Whatever stuff your opponent played will still be hitting your face. What's the downside? If you're playing against a deck who doesn't give too much of a fuck against your 2/2s, you don't do anything next turn. Like your opponent doesn't need to deal with Living Mana immediately, right? So if you can't trade it into something, you can screw up your own curve, so you have to trade with it. You have 0 mana next turn when you play it. You have 1 mana, right? 1 mana from new mana crystal. Yeah, I don't think it combos too well with Savage Roar, because if you want to combo it with Savage Roar, you need to trade first into something, and then Savage Roar, because you have not enough mana to do it. Also the downside, which is quite big, I don't know how it works. What if you have like 10 mana crystals and you play Living Mana? Will you get 7 mana crystals, but it will take your whole mana from you? Like, that's like a moment which is important to evaluate the card itself. Yeah, I would say it's the power of this card is strictly dependent on the amount of AoE you expect your opponent to play. It does seem pretty strong, like it might even feel in a quest deck, even though it's not a minion. It gives you a lot of stats on the board, and it's also flexible because you get 6 mana crystals on 6, 7 mana crystals on 7, so you get 7/2s. You can also play like a 1-drop and then go 5 crystals on 6 mana. Or like if you have 10 mana, you can play a 4-drop and then go for Living Mana. If it works the right way, it should be good then. Yeah, so card's definitely interesting. Not the one to get rid of immediately, not the one to say trash immediately. It doesn't really fit in any archetype, and I don't think it's good for like Token Druid, as I said. It might be decentish. I guess even in Token Druid it's fine, because your opponent needs to kill it. It can go wrong. But then your other stuff is vulnerable to AoE too. Like you normally have a board if you play an aggressive deck, and then you develop this Living Mana when you have a board. You might just have not enough space for every mana crystal. Okay, so if it transforms empty mana crystals, then it means you play 5 mana, you get 5/2s, right? And if you have 6 mana, you play this card, you get 5/2s, not 6. But what you can do, you can play a 1-drop and then play this, and you get a 1-drop and a 6 2/2s. That makes it a bit weaker, I would say, because it's not as flexible. You can go for more mana. You need to spend mana first, so it's kind of weird. Like, let's say turn 10, you have to play a creature first in order to make it work properly. Because you only get 5 2/2s. But at worst you get 5, right? 5 for 5 mana, how bad is it really? Yeah, I think card is pretty good. You don't get like 1/1s, you get 2/2s. 2/2s hit quite hard anyway, so your opponent needs to trade into them. It also represents kind of awkwardness sometimes when you have to play a 6-drop and you play this on 5 and then you don't have enough mana to play it. Simply because you can't trade them all. Yeah, I can see it too, but it's simply good to get 5 mana, 10 stats worth of the board. It might be what Druid needs. The card is really dependent on how popular the AoE spells like Consecration, Holy Nova are in top tier decks. So I wouldn't say it's OP, I wouldn't say it's unplayable. It really depended on the meta. Evolving Spores, 4 mana, adapt your minions. So the way it works, I guess, you get 3 choices, you get 1 adapt, and then all minions are getting adapt with same keyword, same ability. This is just like weak, right? 4 mana, adapt, all minions. You have to have a lot of tokens on board in order to make it work. Yeah, let's say you hit like a poison's keyword. Not like super great, right? If you are playing a lot of tokens, you want your stuff to be offensive. So really, you're looking for +1/+1, and then it's like 4 mana, give your minions +1/+1, and it's worth 1 mana, not 4. You can hit +3 attack, that's a really good one, that's the best one I would say, if you're playing a token deck. But you can't really expect to have a board every time too, like you need like 4 minions on board to justify playing at least 3-4 minions. If you have only 2, it's already not good enough. This card is pretty bad, I don't see it being useful. Shell Shifter, 4 mana 3/3, choose 1, transform into 5/3 with Stealth or 3/5 with Taunt. So it's a power creep of Sanguine Shieldmaster. Like choose 1 plus Sanguine Shieldmaster 100% if you want it, and Sanguine is okay creature, I can say it's super bad. I don't think, like Sanguine doesn't see any play, so it's only about like how useful 5/3 Stealth is. And the answer is, for 5 mana 5/3 Stealth is quite decent. I wouldn't play it anywhere except Jungle Giant's quest, so I can tell you straight up, it won't see any play except Jungle Giant quests. It's not a beast itself, if you hit it into Beast Druid. The fact that it has choose 1 doesn't even make much difference, because 3/5 Taunt, it's not as good for 4 mana, there are better cards to look for. And transform it to 5/3 with Stealth. It's a decent offensive option. I guess maybe 5/3 with Stealth isn't like so bad for aggro decks, because you can consider it as a Corcoran Elite. It hits face, and it's something on board. Corcoran Elite with 5 attack, but you can't charge with it immediately. I mean, it's auto-include for Jungle Giant decks, it seems, because it's 4-drop and it has 5 attack. Druid will be like weak on 5 drops for such quests, I think. You'll have like Mire Keeper at 4, and a Shell Shifter. What else is good on 4? Yeah, on 4 we have like, there are no good 4 neutral drops, it seems. Yeah, so it would basically be Mire Keeper and this guy. Actually, there are no good 4 drops overall. So let's say you just don't have a good option other than playing the Shell Shifter for a Druid right now. I guess there's a Fangel still. But you have to play a spell heavy deck to play Fangel? I guess not quite, you might have really few choose ones. Yeah, it seems better when I think about it. Because you ramp with Wild Growth, then you need a 4-drop. It'll be Mire Keepers. Druid are naturally playing only 3-4 drops right now, so I can see like, if you don't run the quest, I can see having 1 Shell Shifter. Or maybe even 0 if you want to play 2 Mire Keepers and a Fangel only. Yeah, but it seems like a decent creature really. And it seems like it's much better as a 5/3 Stealth most of the time. Very good offensive tool. Like, as I said, Corcoran Elite, just with an upside, because you can trade it. Like, you play it, you don't trade immediately, but it has more attack in the following turn, so you can trade it into like 5-drop, you can trade up. Yeah, it will see play in many decks. Pretty good minion. Earth skills. Give a friendly minion +1/+1, then gain armor equal to its attack. Arson scales. Okay, so that's a slow card as well, right? The power of it is a power of stabilization. You play a big guy, you might play your Ancient to 4, then you play your Earthen skills. You get to heal for 6 and also make a 6/10 taunt. 6/11 taunt. You can't use Earthen skills on a Toronto, so kinda awkward. But you should have enough targets for it. Seems like a strong spell. Like, even if you just play it as a +1/+1 sometimes, it might be decent, I would say. You never keep it in opening hand, and really the only purpose of it is armor gain. But it seems like a good replacement for Fell Rage. I don't know if you want to play 2 of those, so... It's a spell. Spells won't have a good synergy. It's definitely for slower decks, like Kun type of deck, like slow Beast Druid or slow Quest Druid, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't play it in the faster decks, obviously. I think it will find a card in slower Druid decks, so not sure if you play 2 or 1. Tough call. But it will see play, of course. This card seems decent. Vibe Giant Longneck, 5 mana 5/4, Battlecry, Adapt. Beast. Yeah, so for adapts you can get, like, how do I evaluate adapts? Because the guy is more important, more like deliberate it should be about getting buffs. Because if your creature has very little attack, you can get a poisonous effect on it and kind of still good. When if you get poisonous effect on a 5/4, it doesn't make too much sense because it probably will one-shot whatever it goes into anyway. So say if you get a poisonous and that's rather summon 2/1/1s and or +1/+1 is not so good here, right? 6/4 for 5 mana. I mean, it's okay, just not a card you want to play. On the upper side, if you get like a +3 life, it's 5/7 plus Divine Shield 5/4 taunt, not bad. If you get a taunt, it's just a booty bay bodyguard, not good. If you get a stealth, it's almost a Stranglethorn Tiger. Not the worst card, right? You might say Adapt really flexible. It's kind of a bad flexibility from Adapt. Yeah, 5/4 Divine Shield feels like a really nice chunk of stats, so maybe that will carry a bit. Like, card is very well balanced, you can see it, right? It's even hard to tell if it's better than Stranglethorn Tiger right now. And you can play this card if you want to play a quest with 5 attack creatures, or you can play a Stranglethorn Tiger, as I said. It will the same. This can be... I guess summon 2/1/1s isn't so bad. Like if you get +1/+1, 6/5 to stealth, 6/5 it's not like much better than stealth, and in most cases it's even weaker. You can also get like shitty keywords on it like taunt, poisonous, Wind Fury. 5/4 Wind Fury. I mean, hits hard, but it will probably die as soon as you play it. I'm not certain it's better than Stranglethorn Tiger. I wouldn't count it out yet. Like, this card is really... You can make a guess on it, like if it's better than card which already we have or not, just by making some math. I'm just too lazy, I would say. Let's just say I won't count it out, but it's really not OP at all. Elder Longneck. If you hold in a minion with 5 or more attack, adapt 3 mana 5/1. This guy's pretty good. You'll find a card in the Jungle Giants decks. You'll find a card in the Beast Druid deck if you don't play a quest. We'll probably not find a card if you want to play more like standard Jade Druid or something. You really need to like work on the amount of 5 attack creatures you have in deck, so you need to deliberately make a deck around it. So it doesn't go everywhere. It is clear the card is good enough, so if you'll take a look at it. If it's procced, you get a 5/1 and adapt. If you get adapt +3 life, it's a 5/4 for 3 mana. It's like a Tomb Pillager. If you coin out Tomb Pillager on 3, you get a 5/4 for 3 mana. You get coin refund, right? Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-drop, so you can like coin Wild Growth into it. You can curve into it kind of well. Also, if you don't run Feral Rage, that's a nice replacement for a 3 mana. If you need to remove something, in early game you play Feral Rage, right? This card lets you cut Fell Rage and replace it. Like Earthen Scales allows you to cut Fell Rage and still have armor gain. Maybe you play Mark of Yasharash in your deck. That's a beast, right? 5-1 stealth isn't super terrible against some matchups. Like you might say, or like Shadow Rager, good card, Kappa. I mean, it is good against some classes, like Maelstrom Portal, your 5-1, let's say. You're playing against Shaman, or against Druid who can just swipe. Or even against Druid. Yes, he can swipe, but he won't swipe your face to kill a 3-drop in most cases, right? So you can play it into something and make it stealth, and it trades up. 5-1 with Death Rattle Summon 2/1/1s, not so bad, right? It needs to be hero power down, and then if you play against a rogue, they take 5 damage and they still face 2/1/1s. Sometimes it's really awkward to even spend your mana on hero power, so you need to have like a token on board to trade into it, to make an efficient use of it. But how popular token decks really will be, with the expansion full of strong, beefy guys? Like, it might be possible, like, Pirate Warrior will like shit on everyone still. Everyone will play 2 Galaka Crawlers, and Pirate Warrior will still kill everyone because how slow they are. I guess if you hit Galaka Crawler, you probably win, even if you play like a shitty slow ass deck. I don't know how Zoo will perform. Like, if Zoo is really popular, then Elder Longneck is weaker, because there will be tokens on board to trade into it. But overall, I would say card is pretty good, really good for Jungle Giants deck, like must have. And for Beast Druid itself, for more aggressive variation, you probably don't play it, right? Because you don't have enough 5-attack creatures. You don't want to play Magma Rager on 3. I guess you still play it, like this should be enough. You should have like Stringatlow Tigers or Longnecks in your deck, or maybe Manager Wardens. Yeah, maybe it's like not natural fit for Beast Druid deck, just for like for slower Beast Druid it's pretty good if you play Giant Anaconda. You have a lot of 5-attack creatures. For faster Druid deck it might not be good enough because you don't have enough 5-attack creatures. Not sure which archetype is strongest right now, but it's definitely good for a secret deck. So I would say it will find a card most every Druid deck. Third column for Rage, 2 mana to 2, Battle Cry, add a random minion with 5 or more attack to your hand. Compared to Dark Peddler, you get a 1-cast creature, 1-cast card, you get to discover, so this one gives you a random 5-attack creature. It can be something shitty, it can be a Mogo champion. I guess not in standard, but it can be something shitty. Blizzard did a good job at not printing a really extremely terrible cards, but there's still quite a few in Classic. Some Battle Cry minions with 5-attack are pretty bad. I guess you can still play them with Battle Cry from your hand. I mean, it can go too wrong with this card, right? No matter what you get, it should be good enough, because 2 mana to 2 and draw a card is kind of overstarted. I mean, I'm not so sure about it, to be fair. Because on turn 2 you want to ramp, you never keep this card in your hand, you want to get the Wild Growth every time. You don't keep it, but it's also not terrible to play it. It's not like skipping a turn. And also it's not bad in late game, because you play it and you get a 5-attack minion. At worst, well, you get a big guy you can play. Not a big deal, right? Just play it. Actually, you can hit like a Molten Giant. That's a really bad hit. Hit Molten Giant, it's dead unless you're low on life. Yeah, there might be some like shitty cards from it too, but like so's from Peddler. You can hit a bunch of 1/1s from it, which aren't doing much. So yeah, I mean, card seems okay. Do I want to play it everywhere in my deck? Like, I'm not really sure, because that's not something you want to have on 2. You always mulligan it away, but it's not bad in late game too. So it's kind of like overall average. So overall review about like Druid cards in general, they're not like straight up broken cards. Wizard did a good job at not making power creeps this time around. And every card has potential except Evolving Spores. This one sucks. Yeah, sorry I'm taking so long. It's just like at first, because you can't say how powerful the card is without talking about other cards Druid will have first. So that's why I didn't think about like ordering of cards. And even like, if no matter what order is, you still should mention other cards first before saying like why is it good or why is it not.